All right. All right, we can go ahead and get started. Party Sepe, what is going on? I hope your day has been good. Let's begin because we got some things to cover. Yo, peoples, QShu92 here. We are here to discuss Ubisoft cuz wow. This company has been making bad decision after bad decision after flop, and it's really up in the air whether this entire company is going to last. Now I feel like saying that may seem a little bit of an exaggeration, but this company as of late hasn't really done a whole lot to reinforce faith in its brand. And I just want to have this discussion. I you'll just have to bear with me because I have a lot of history of playing a lot of Ubisoft games. I want to say my very first Ubisoft game was, I'm trying to think back to the very first one that I played. I think I played Splinter Cell before I played any of the Assassin's Creed. Yo, Kitty! Also, Roland V-Dub, it's good to see you as well. Hopefully, y'all are doing fine. And if I have any viewer or any peoples who happen to be in Florida right now, I hope y'all are doing okay. I know I looked it up, and it turns out that there's over 3 million people who are currently without power right now. So if you are one of those individuals who have been impacted, our hearts and prayers are with you for what that amounts to from a person who is in a completely different state and not going through what you're going through. But I hope that you are all staying safe right now. But we need to talk about this company because Ubisoft has really fallen from grace, as the phrase would go. It's really fallen from grace, and everything about Ubisoft as it stands right now has not really become the brand that should stand up to a lot of other big names out there right now, like Bethesda. Bethesda is Bethesda. Even with their biggest game they've released so far being Starfield, and they really had the audacity to say that we've had a lot of heavy hitters in our history. So now we can say we have a big three: Fallout, Elder Scrolls, and now Starfield. Even though Fallout and Elder Scrolls had multiple iterations for it to be an established name, and they kind of think that Starfield is big enough on its own where it can stand up to games like Skyrim, like stand up to games like Elder Scrolls and Fallout, which is not the case because Starfield was released with, mixed reviews, and even now with their DLC, it's still mixed. It's less than what Fallout and the Elder Scrolls have been. So Bethesda is in a state right now where it thinks it's doing a good job, but it's actually not. But the focus for today will be Ubisoft. D-Train, good to see you, and B Savage, what is up? What is up? So recently, Ubisoft and their stocks have been hit really, really hard due to the fact that Ubisoft has been dropping games that has, for a lack of a better word, been less than what we all known Ubisoft to make some good games for. And Holster, good to see you as well. And okay, so for example, this is just a day in a day change for their stocks. So let's go roughly about 6 months. So if we go all the way to Wednesday on May 15th, this was the highest their stocks have ever been. And then as soon as we get to July 17th, that's when things started to just taper off and they started to really go downhill. And then when we get to September, all the way up until pretty much around the time that we got Star Wars Outlaws, their stocks tanked absolutely. Star Wars Outlaws was a pretty much a big flop in their eyes, and it was a big flop in players' eyes. I'm pretty sure you'll have your group of people who enjoyed Outlaws, but for the grand scheme of the rest of us, we saw what this game was, and it just seemed like it was less than what it could have been. For example, the marketing for Star Wars Outlaws made you think you were truly going to be able to live out the outlaw life. But then there are countless videos out there of people playing this game, countless videos out there of people playing this game, and it's full of bugs, both on console and PC, which you think PC would be more stable, but people have played on PC, and it's just chock full of issues. And in the marketing, you would think that the story is going one sort of way. So, for example, what individual have y'all noticed was always in the promotional material for Star Wars Outlaws? Even the front cover of the game showcases a character that does not help you or accompany you in any way except for 2 whole missions within the entire game. ND5, the commando battle droid. It made you think that he was going to be able to help you out in certain situations, but a vast majority of his appearance within the game is purely cutscene relevant, with only one mission dedicated to fixing him because he starts having a malfunction and going back to his commando battle droid days, and another one where he's been programmed to kill you at literally the end of the game. Whereas the rest of the game, from the beginning all the way until like near the end, and the end is when he actually accompanies you. So the whole deal with him being on the front cover and being a companion that can travel with you, that's not a thing. They made it seem like it was a thing. They propped up ND5 as to be this big character that is going to expand on your adventure and being an Outlaws, and he's nothing more than a set-piece character made to look good because it would look good in a video game trailer or in marketing where it wants people to think that he has a bigger importance than in the entire game when he doesn't at all. So that's one thing. Then you get a character whose entire being is just lackluster and trying to be the poor man's Han Solo. And they drive that nail even harder when you realize that, hey, when you meet Jabba the Hutt, you see Han Solo still frozen in carbonite inside of his palace. It's because this story is set between episode 4 and 5. This is supposed to be between... No, it's supposed to be between 5 and 6. Between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So that's where the story takes place. But the character Kay Vess, she's a bumbling, fumbling main character who you can't really get attached to because her character is portrayed as, on one side, being incredibly competent, on the other side, being completely incompetent to the point of being insufferable. And the gameplay, which is really where Ubisoft should be selling it, especially considering they say this is supposed to be your first open-world Star Wars game. It's bland. It's bland. And this is also a game that's trying to really drive home that we know you don't like anything from the sequels, but we're going to include locations from the sequels because we really need to drive home that these are a part of Star Wars now, even though people don't like them. Like Canto Bight, you know, the whole casino planet from one of the worst Star Wars movies, if not the worst Star Wars movies in existence. Let's make that a place where people want to go. You'll have more fun in Canto Bight in the Lego Star Wars game than you will in this one. Because it's just, everything about Star Wars Outlaws is just relatively bland. So, when you get a game that is just overall relatively average, instead of being this big, massive experience, because the thing is, Yves... No one would nitpick the game if it was good. Exactly. No one would pick apart this game if it was good. And I'm talking about Outlaws. I'm not even talking about the games they released beforehand, which was Skull and Bones, which they're still trying to push that as like a great game to play. Oh, we still got stuff going on. Please play it. And then before that was Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. And then before that, it was like the last Assassin's Creed game, which was like Mirage. And before that was Valhalla. And before that, well, you know, we're going backwards from there. But Outlaws really put into people's minds that I'm bored of Ubisoft games. See, what Yves Guillermo said about the games is that players have apparently set have set very high expectations of our games. So when we don't deliver on those high expectations they expect from us, then it gets met with middling reviews. I'm paraphrasing, but Yves, who's the CEO of Ubisoft, said that we're to blame for setting our expectations too high for what we wanted from their games. And if we don't meet those expectations, then it's because we, the players, set our expectations too high to begin with. And I'm thinking, that is not our fault. When you create games and marketed them to be these true insert description here experience, when you say, like, this is our best open world to date, or we spent so much time and quality in this game, when you have full-on videos talking about how much time and effort you put into this game and saying that you want it to be the player's best experience ever, that's you setting the expectation. And that's what we're holding you to. We are only holding our expectations to what you say we are going to have. And if we can't truly have that expectation because you're vague with it, and you just say, like, we want players to have the best Star Wars experience ever, and when we can't do certain things based off of your the expectations you've given to us, it's not our fault. We're only going off of what you said. If you say this is going to be the best Outlaws experience in a Star Wars game, that's what we expect. But then the game doesn't even give you the option to truly be an outlaw. You be an outlaw in story context and in side missions. You're an outlaw with morals. You are never able to shoot at civilians. You're never able to do anything that a outlaw can truly do. Don't worry, I'll read the rest of what you guys have said. It's good to see your designs. When you want to be an outlaw, what's the first thing you think of? Robbing people, right? Robbing people is one of the go-tos when you are considering being a bad guy. You could do this in Red Dead. You can do this in Fallout. You can do this in Skyrim. You can rob people. This is something you can do. You want to be an outlaw, and yet you don't have the options to fully be an outlaw unless the mission gives you the capabilities of doing so. Let's see, what kind of chair am I using? Yeah, it's an office chair. I want to say it's an office chair. It's comfortable. I had it before. I was using this chair before, and then I called myself getting a gaming chair. But then I realized, you know what? Gaming chair makes me feel too lazy to sit in. So, you know what? We'll go back to an office chair with no arms so I can focus on sitting upright so I can keep my posture balanced. So, you know. And you're not even talking about me. Sorry. Disregard what I said. Disregard what I said. Y'all, you're talking to Kitty. Kitty, I am so sorry. Please forgive me. I was just reading the bottom half. of the text, and I didn't even see the rest of the chat. Please forgive me. That was meant for Kitty. That was not meant for me. So let me see what everyone said. Yo, Captain and Nakamas. What's up, Q bro? If they had made the MC hottie, it would have still been a bad game. See, here's the thing, though. They could have made Kay Vess a very beautiful individual, but if the base game is bland and broken, that wouldn't have mattered. The same thing is if you run across a beautiful woman. She can be... Thought he was talking to you. No worries, dude. I saw that you were talking about you finally got moved to a chair, and I believe he was talking to you about the chair. You know I don't roll like that. Oh yeah, but my apologies, my mistake. So, but going back to what Design said, Kay Vess could have been absolutely gorgeous, but if the gameplay was just boring and bland and repetitive in a bad way, then her looks wouldn't have saved her from everything else. And this is what I was continue off of. That's like coming across a beautiful woman in real life. She's absolutely gorgeous, heaven sent even. But none of that beauty would mean anything if her personality and just overall character is just utter trash. You could be the most gorgeous person in the world, and none of that would matter if your personality doesn't match the beauty. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. So, Outlaws drops, and instead of players getting a true definitive Outlaw experience, they got what Ubisoft thought was an Outlaw experience shoved in the world of Star Wars. We lost Star Wars 1313 for this. Disney canceled Star Wars 1313, which was supposed to be a true Outlaw game. They canceled that, but gave us Outlaws instead. And now we're just going to be wondering, where did we go wrong? Because here's my thing. When Ubisoft said they were going to be doing an open world Star Wars game, one part of me was hoping that it would be awesome to play a Mandalorian game. It would be awesome to play a Mandalorian game. The Mandalorian is by far one of the most notable characters in Star Wars at this moment, even more than Boba Fett, because the Book of Boba Fett, while I did enjoy some of it, I can understand people's negative disposition towards the show. People are far more favorable to The Mandalorian than any other new Star Wars show that has come out. So, why not just make a Mandalorian game? But no, we got Outlaws instead. And our first Star Wars open world game that pretty much does the same thing that Ubisoft has been doing with their games for the past 15 years. And all it does is just drive home that Ubisoft, frankly, doesn't know how to do anything different. Yo, Shonen Sensei, it's good to see you as always. Ubisoft might as well change their name to Assassin's Creed Incorporated. I can't think of any other decent titles to come out of that company. We got Ghost Recon. We got Splinter Cell. Remember the last time when we heard that there was apparently supposed to be like a Splinter Cell remake that they were making, and we haven't heard that in over a year? It's been forever since we heard anything from that. So, we are talking, here's what I want to do. I want to go through a bunch of these games that they've made that really set this company on fire in a good way before it started to set itself on fire in a bad way. So, going back, they've given us, well, obviously, the Assassin's Creed series. The first Assassin's Creed game I played was Assassin's Creed 2. I didn't play 1 until later on, but Assassin's Creed 2 was my first Assassin's Creed game, and it was incredibly fun. I thought it was amazing. CDs, what's going on? Also, Ubi in hot water over personal info leak. It's been a hot topic on r/gaming. I know, and that's something I wanted to bring up as well. Ubisoft is currently facing a lawsuit because they are being sued under the pretense of them unlawfully selling user information to Meta. First, your Star Wars game flops, and now people are questioning your sustainability in the market. Then, you start doing dumb stuff with Assassin's Creed Shadows, making people like the game less and less. And no, I'm not talking about Yasuke. Yasuke's Yasuke. I'm not concerned about that. I mean things concerning the game, such as trying to sell off a sword that is linked to Assassin's Creed when it's actually one of Zoro's sword from One Piece that you wanted to show as an actual prop that people could buy, so you got that wrong and messed up. Hot water. Then you tried to sell a figurine that showcased Yasuke and Naoe on a one-legged Torigate, which in Japan has only one one-legged Torigate, and that is from the Sano Shrine in Nagasaki, which was pretty much rendered a one-legged Torigate because of an atomic bomb that dropped in Nagasaki in 1945. So, or is it 47? It was 1945 or 1947. So, Having a figurine showcasing a one-legged Torigate where the only one-legged Torigate in Japan is literally the result of an atomic bomb going off and, taking out a great deal of Japan in the process, of Nagasaki in the process. Yeah, bad taste. You couldn't have had a single person consult you and say, like, hey, we don't need to make a one-legged Torigate with our characters on there because of what happened in Nagasaki. Let's not do this. But you went with it anyway. So they're in hot water because of that, because they just keep making bad PR decisions. Now they're in a situation where they are getting sued for apparently unlawfully selling user information to Facebook. Matter of fact, hold on. Ubisoft. Let's see. Let's go here, PC Gamer. Here's another headache for Ubisoft. Lawsuit alleges it illegally shared Ubisoft Store customer data with Meta. Let's see. As if it doesn't have enough to worry about, Ubisoft is now facing a potential class action lawsuit alleging it illegally shared personally identifiable information about Ubisoft Store users with Meta. The Ubisoft Store isn't anywhere near the behemoth of Steam, but it's there and people use it. Likewise, the game subscription service Ubisoft Plus is no Game Pass, but the fact of its continued existence means some number of people are paying monthly fees to access it. Both require the usual array of information, including your name, address, and credit card information. Very typical stuff. Remember, guys, they said they were going to do research for the future. Where are the old Ubisoft? You thought it was Meta? Meta and Facebook are the same thing. Meta is literally Facebook is Meta and Facebook go hand in hand. They are literally in the same space. So when I say Facebook and Meta, they're the same thing. Because Facebook was there before Meta, and Meta has been integrated into Facebook. Thank you, Zuckerberg. So that's the thing. Speaking of Meta, remember Meta, the animated series? I do not. Yeah, did research to insult and disrespect Japan even more. Not just the same mentality anymore. Yeah, they don't. Remember, guys. But yeah, remember they said they was going to do research for the future? Common sense would tell you that, hey, let's make sure what we're researching isn't offensive to the very nation we're trying to create a game of. So going back to this, the problem, according to the lawsuit available in full-form court listener, is that Ubisoft makes use of Pixel, which Meta describes as a piece of code on your website that can help you better understand the effectiveness of your advertising and the actions people take on your site, like visiting a page or adding an item to their cart. Simply put, anything you do on the Ubisoft website while you're logged into Facebook is seen and tracked for the use in retargeting, which is essentially the process of convincing people who are buying your stuff to buy more of your stuff. Gotta love that. A little piece of code that is subtly trying to influence people to buy more of the stuff they're already buying. Vaguely dystopian, sure, but that's just business as usual in this day and age. Anyone who thinks their data isn't being picked over with a fine-tooth comb and feeding into the gaping maws of the capitalism machine isn't paying attention, because that kind of happens. But this particular implementation of consumer surveillance is unlawful, according to the lawsuit, because it exposes personally identifiable information to any person of ordinary technical skill who receive that data, and does so without disclosing in advance that it's happening. This, the suit states, is a violation of the Video Privacy Protection Act, the Federal Wiretap Act, and the California Invasion of Privacy Act. And for that, plaintiffs Trevor Lakes and Alex Rajoub, both of whom purchased multiple games from the Ubisoft Store individually and on behalf of all others similarly situated, are seeking financial damages and an order compelling Ubisoft to either get rid of Pixel or obtain consent for from its user to share their data. Another checkbox for us to blast through, I suppose. So this is already a bad thing for Ubisoft. Meta was in Batman Beyond, that robot who disguised as different people and wind up having his own spinoff. I left Facebook. I wasn't feeling it. Definitely don't want to link with it since they collaborate with NSA. Today I learned I don't have a Facebook or other platform. It's foreign to me. Count your blessings. So I'm just here wondering, where did Ubisoft go wrong with their games? They used to be a colossal giant. People look forward to their Assassin's Creed. Their Assassin's Creeds were good until we started to get into more, let's require an internet connection for players to be able to take advantage of everything. I think it went downhill the moment they added a store to their games. And I think that started with... Which Assassin's Creed first started the whole thing where they had like an entire store tab to it? I'm trying to remember. It wasn't Origins, because I believe they started doing it beforehand. I think it might have been... I'm trying to think. Either Unity or Syndicate. I want to say Syndicate. What year when they fell off? It was pretty recently. I want to say when they really started to really taper off, I think it may have been the year that we got Assassin's Creed Valhalla. As fun as that game was, it didn't feel Assassin's Creed. It felt like insert famous warrior here and then insert them into the Assassin's world. The plot for Assassin's Creed has been lost fundamentally. Can anyone tell me where we're at with the main story? The answer is no, because the story pretty much ended when Desmond gave his life in order to keep this gigantic solar flare from frying the Earth. After he died, so too did the story of Assassin's Creed. Because I'm pretty sure, without looking it up, none of you can tell me where the story is. I obviously can't tell you because I haven't played an Assassin's Creed game in a long time. Last one I played was Valhalla, and I haven't played one since. I may have re-downloaded Assassin's Creed Black Flag when Assassin's Creed games were good, but I haven't played any new Assassin's Creed. None of y'all can tell me where the story is. Remember when the story used to be about assassins versus Templars? The assassins who are, trying to keep the world safe and allow people to live freely without being controlled by others, versus the Templars who want to use these ancient pieces of Eden, ancient civilization technology, to rule over the world and do whatever they want with the masses. Remember when that used to be the main plot point? What happened to that? None of y'all can tell me. Without even trying to look up the synopsis of where the story is right now, none of you can tell me because the plot's been lost. Now it's just like, let's just make any sort of Assassin's Creeds with whatever, and then just lump in some Assassin's Creed nonsense in it. And that's where we've returned to. And I know they tried to go back to roots with Assassin's Creed Mirage, but it was like a half step at best, because people are not as into Assassin's Creed, even with them taking us back to the world of the first Assassin's Creed game. Even after doing that, they really haven't given people a reason to really look forward to Assassin's Creed. And I say this as they not only, because Assassin's Creed, couldn't tell you exactly. Because Assassin's Creed Shadows was supposed to drop next month. But due to how poorly Star Wars Outlaws did, and how much it shows that, hey, when you release a buggy game, turns out players will run into bugs and will let you know that your game is unpolished. See, when did Ubisoft get to the point where they stopped trying to polish up games and just release it in a stable enough state and then be all like, oh, we'll fix it later? A lot of games do that, but Ubisoft, with how much they put effort into trying to recreate entire historical locations, you would think they would also make sure that their game is stable enough when it's ready to launch. You would think. But that's not the case, because now the game Assassin's Creed Shadows has been delayed until February of next year. And I'm wondering whose idea was it to try and release this game in the same month we're getting the highly anticipated Monster Hunter Wilds. You know, the next big Monster Hunter game from Capcom. Whose idea was it to try and release an Assassin's Creed game in that same month? When stock and trust and faith in Ubisoft is at an all-time low right now, whose idea was it to release this game in another month with a game that is that for all intents and purposes is going to be far more enjoyable than Shadows? Let me see what you guys have been saying. I feel it fell off around Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I wouldn't say it fell off from then. I want to say the last really good Assassin's Creed game we got that actually felt like Assassin's Creed was Origins. Syndicate and Origins. Unity is up there in terms of like how good it looks visually, but that is also when we started getting Assassin's Creed games that were incredibly buggy. Y'all, you can look up, actually, matter of fact, who remembers this? Y'all remember this? When characters had no faces, but they still had teeth and eyes and hair. They had no heads, but they had everything else. They had no faces and no heads, no skulls, but they had everything else. This is when Ubisoft games and Assassin's Creed games started to be incredibly buggy. They kind of went the AMC Walking Dead route, where they relied on Assassin's Creed like a crutch and milked it to death. That's exactly what's happened with it. The other best part is when they had the hip-hop playing in feudal era Japan. Oh, I forgot about that. Why? Why do you have hip-hop music playing? You didn't have any of this. You didn't have any of this modern day music mingled into classical type of orchestra music in previous games. Why all of a sudden does it need like a hip hop beat to go with it? Why? What's the purpose? We roll our eyes when we hear that sort of thing in a setting where it does not fit. I don't feel like grooving too much and feeling like it adds on to the fight if I have Yasuke and he's got like this I don't feel like I'm really. I got to be careful because I've been having like a couple of nosebleeds lately, and I want to make sure that I'm good because I don't want to interrupt this conversation. But I'm fine. But I don't be feeling like I'm super grooving and I'm enjoying myself when I get that sort of music in a setting where that sort of music doesn't fit. Because they want that early paycheck. Black Flag is definitely the best Assassin's Creed game of all time. It is. The fact that they'll release it again for people to play, but you'll give us Skull and Bones as if that's going to be like a true successor to Assassin's Creed Black Flag when we all know it isn't. It is because Skull and Bones is pretty much repurposed content from Assassin's Creed Black Flag, worked on for several years, and then released as an expensive $70 game, with one of the devs calling it a quadruple A title. And it is literally middling at best. It is an absolute travesty that this game exists at all. So, but you could have just given us Assassin's Creed 4 where it runs at 60. Do you know how much of a difference games can make if you boost their frame rate? But of course, trying to re-release games would be way too costly. So let's make an entirely brand new game that costs a couple $100 million to make. But then we just, because the thing that really sent Ubisoft downhill is the fact that they've gone way overboard with trying to monetize so many things in their games. For example, in... Do that again? No, I ain't doing that again. I ain't beatbox again. But the thing with Ubisoft is that they've seen the light, the quote-unquote light of monetization in video games, and they've taken it too far. They've taken it to the point where in games, you need to scrounge and save, and you need to work really hard in order to earn these items, or you can break out that debit card or credit card, put a couple 20s in there, and you can not only pay for an XP booster, you can not only pay for a money booster, you can also pay for gear that you cannot earn in-game that can give you a massive and significant advantage. One where it can make your game easier. Oh, I don't want to go out and find everything in the world. Let me just buy this map pack and it'll show every notable thing in this region. Oh, I don't want to find every secret on my own time. I don't have because they call them time savers. I don't have a lot of time. I'm a parent. I got kids. I got work. I got a full-time job. I drive 20 hours this way and 20 hours back. I only have a little bit of time in order to play a game. I don't have time to find stuff. So let me just buy this $5 map pack so that way I don't have to work for nothing. And I can just skim through it and shave hundreds of hours of playtime off my time so I can just save time. See, Ubisoft has... Guess I have to reply... I guess I have to replay that beatbox effect. You could make an awesome quadruple A game. Look, Black Myth Wukong has created a quadruple A title. The game has already grossed over $1 billion. And I just found out yesterday that it only costs roughly $43 million to make. 300 million MSI in China, but roughly $43 million to make. And it has already grossed over $1 billion. And this is just coming from the payout from people on Steam. They haven't compiled all the numbers from people playing on PlayStation. Black Myth Wukong is a quadruple A title. I remember this one line from Sanford & Son where Lamont's got like this porcelain statue that he wants to sell, and he's all like, "A thing of beauty, class. I am porcelain." And then looking at his dad and saying like, "You are crockery." This is the comparison between one company versus another. And the thing is, Ubisoft has been around far longer than Game Science has, and yet Game Science has made more with one game than Ubisoft has made with Skull and Bones, Assassin's Creed Outlaws, and any other game they've made recently. Because you can't name a single game that Ubisoft has released that has allowed them to gross $1 billion. Simply because Ubisoft's quality has fallen off. Which is a disappointment because their games used to be great. They used to be great. I used to like Far Cry. Then I played Far Cry 6. Now I don't want to mess with any Far Cry replicas anymore, which is why I refuse to play Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. I'm already tired of James Cameron's Avatar movies, and I'm already tired of Far Cry. So those two mixed together means that is money saved in my wallet of a game I will never play. I won't even hate play it. Y'all can't make me. But Ubisoft games have fallen off so hard to the point where it is more fun to watch people playing them on YouTube and go through the motions of trying to navigate these games than it is to actually play these games. It's disappointment. They used to be great. Now I can only... And the thing is, Ubisoft is not in a place right now where they can afford to fail. But they're failing. Don't let these stocks fool you. Don't let it seem like it. Wait, how you tired of Jane Cameron's Avatar movies? I just don't like the story of the Avatar movies. I'm tired. He only did 2 avatars. That's enough. That's enough. You ain't gotta watch 3, 4, or 5 movies in a movie line for you to get tired of it. You can get tired of it. You can get tired of a franchise from like the second movie in, and hearing that he's gonna be doing another one, and that one is gonna be like in the year 2027. Nah, I'm good. Because all I'm going to be looking at is just like, I don't care how great the graphics look, how the CGI looks in James Cameron's movies. I can't remember anything from, Way of Water, or anything that would make me feel like I want to continue looking at this universe. So I don't care about James Cameron's Avatar series. I just feel like they're glorified CGI benchmark movies with famous people attached to them. But that's just my own personal opinion. That's just me. People may like the Avatar movies, but take it or leave it. I don't care either way. PvP and PvP with a high skill ceiling, lots of earnable cosmetics, $40 price tag, quadruple A game. It will make money. Yes, that would. Let's see. Zero. What's going on? I hope the Prince of Persia gets canceled. I don't want them to ruin those beautiful memories of this game, of this great game. Simple, satisfying gameplay, a satisfying story can have spin-offs with other characters, maybe female protagonist, strong, benevolent, with a big old dump truck. Let's see. The hip-hop music in a feudal Japan setting with Yasuke as the main character is a blatant attempt to pander to the fans of the franchise, and also pander to some other fans as well. It shows how little Ubisoft thinks of their consumers. Yeah, if they think that just adding a hip-hop beat to a black character in a video game is more than enough for me to go like, oh man, oh, the beat is nice. I can't wait to play this character. You're going overboard. Stop trying to reach. Stop trying to reach. Cause we gonna call it out for what it is. Why you trying to pander to us like we dumb enough to just fall for anything with a hip hop beat, and we just gonna float through the air with our noses tooted up, just smelling the scent of like, oh, you appealing to black people. Can I be real? We ain't affected by that. We ain't stupid. You ain't gonna subconsciously draw us in just because you think the beat sounds nice. Cause as a person who's a musician, who just listens to all sorts of music, I main my trumpet with everything that I play. On occasion, I play piano, but that don't faze me at all. Who you trying to prove? Who you trying to draw in? You really had to get that. If it's a bad one, you'll get sick of one. If it's a bad one, you'll get sick of it half through the first. Yeah. So Ubisoft is now in a state where they're looking into. Hold on, let me see Ubisoft again. Where they're looking into possible. Let me see. Where is it? It's also trying to push some of its games on Steam, which looks like an attempt for them to try and make up for costs that their games haven't done well on consoles. So they're trying to push a lot of their games onto Steam all of a sudden, so that they can make up for that lost money that they didn't get from the past games. But also, here's another thing. There was supposed to be there was another one where they're saying that they're looking into. Here it is. Assassin's Creed maker Ubisoft considers going private. Ubisoft's disastrous 2024 may lead to the company going private. So let's pull this one up and let's read through this one real quick. Tencent and the Guillermo family are reportedly considering taking Ubisoft private as part of efforts to stabilize the company amid a tumultuous 2024. According to Bloomberg, both parties have reportedly been speaking with advisors on how best to bolster Ubisoft's value after multiple gaffes over the last 12 months lead to a tumbling share price. Ubisoft has lost half of their market value this year, but news of this potential buyout has resulted in a sharp increase of around 33%. Now, as you can see right here, it's gone up a little bit, but not enough, not as much as it used to be back in July, and definitely not as much as it used to be back in May. So it's only gone up just a small smidge, but it's still down negative 36.54%. So while it may have gone up 33%, it's still not enough to bring it out of the negative. Their share value is it's off. Really had to, let's see, it is widely appreciated by the general public. You ain't wrong, ain't judging, I respect it, as do I. A potential buyout is supposedly just one of several avenues Tencent and the Guillemot family may go down. Mind you, it's not the only option because they wanted to pipe up due to these reports. They wanted to, the different people piped up saying like, we're always looking at these options, but you weren't looking at these options as much before because your games were good. Now your games aren't as good as they used to be, and now you're trying to reassure people like, we always do this. We do this all the time. No, you don't. Let's be honest here, they don't. They were doing just fine until they started releasing all these stinkers. And I'm pretty sure the conversations of looking for different avenues and different ways to bolster their values, I'm pretty sure it didn't lead them to the thought of like possibly going private with their entire company. Because their games used to be good. It's only now that they're saying, it's only now that it's coming to light that this is a potentiality, that they're all like, oh, we do this all the time. Do we do this all the time? Shh, don't tell them. This is the first time it's happening, but let's just make it seem like this happens all the time. If this happens all the time, then what's going on at the studio for y'all to be having these talks all the time? Shouldn't that be concerning? That should be concerning if you're having talks like this about, increasing the payout for your studio and also talks of like going private. If you're having talks like this, not just with privacy and stuff, but always having these sort of talks when things don't go well, what does that say about your company as a whole if these talks happen all the time? I understand having talks in order to increase your market value, but going private is a really big thing. In September, Ubisoft's share price fell to its lowest value in years, following middling reception and poor sales of Star Wars Outlaws, because, only a handful of people really played Star Wars Outlaws, and the other half was just looking at other people play Star Wars Outlaws. It was not the Star Wars experience that people wanted to have, and it's Ubisoft's fault for making us think that it would be. It's not, and I say this again, it is not our fault if the expectations we have of a game is because of the expectations you showed us and told us. It's not our fault. If you tell me I'm going to have the best Star Wars experience ever, where you're going to be able to live out your dreams of being an outlaw, where you tell me the gameplay is going to be solid, the environments are going to be solid, the story is going to be solid, I will enjoy the characters. We hope you love her too. And you do all of this stuff. You are setting the expectations of where this game is going to meet my expectations. You're helping my expectations meet yours in that same sentence. So if I play the game and none of that happens, and I feel like I've been fooled and duped out of my money, it is not my fault that I thought what I was getting is not what I got. Got a dip, got D&D. Hope everyone has a good evening or day, and make sure to stay safe. As well as you, Holster, you have a good one. Hopefully, may the rolls be ever in your favor. It's not our fault if the expectations you set in a game that you said it would be met are not met in the game. And then when word of mouth gets out to numerous people, when they say this game ain't it, this game is not what they advertise, it's not good, it's not polished, it's not fun, the story is boring, it's far more fun to watch people play through Outlaws, when that starts spreading through through the grapevine towards different people. Then it gets around that, like, this isn't worth it at all. But back to it's not our fault. It's your fault. It's Ubisoft's fault. If you didn't like the game, you're not wrong for it. It's Ubisoft for setting that expectation and not meeting it. Let's see. Following middling reception and poor sales for Star Wars Outlaws, it was also announced that Assassin's Creed Shadows, the latest flagship title in the stealth franchise, which is another thing I need to bring up. Whatever happened to stealth in Ubisoft games? Star Wars Outlaws has stealth, but it's very poorly done. And coming from a company that specializes in stealth mechanics for their games, it is very confusing how you have such horrible stealth in a game from a company that is known for that in their games. Would be delayed until February 2025 in order for Ubisoft to avoid a repeat of the Star Wars debacle. It's not all doom and gloom, mind, as Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown wound up being one of the strongest Metroidvanias we've played in years. Having said that, we have a hard time imagining it being a strong commercial success. Ubisoft has an unfortunate reputation of discounting its games heavily not too long after the initial launch, which may contribute to softer sales in recent years. People are going to be mad at Monster Hunter Wilds. Be ready for it. Oh, people will always find a reason. Dragon's Dogma 2 still suffering optimization issues. Monster Hunter Wilds will have the same issues. We'll see. We'll see. We shall see. But I am wary of open world Capcom games after Dragon's Dogma 2. So while that minorly concerns me, we'll just see what happens. We'll just see what happens. So here we are with Ubisoft and their games, and they are at the bottom. It's the same engine. Yeah. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. I watch a lot of Maximilian Dude, and he's seen gameplay of it as well. And if he says it's unoptimized, then you know for a fact it's truly unoptimized. So we'll see. Because the way things are right now, games should not be having optimization issues. We should be past that point already. And I say this all the time. As a person who owns a Switch, who owns multiple Muso games on the Switch, I know what true unoptimized games are like. You don't put a Muso game on a Switch and it can't run smoothly. How Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition run better than every other game, every other Muso game that comes out after that? How does that work? Clearly someone knows how to optimize with that game, but you can't optimize the rest of it? Games should be optimized for the consoles and systems that they are built for. That is basic. An unoptimized game is, well, Star Wars Outlaws, for example. Still want the game, though. I'm gonna take a pound of assets from it. I see you're a modder. So, here's what we're also gonna do. I'm gonna put my headphones in, because I want us to check some things out as well. Let me unmute my desktop here. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to check out. Something went wrong. Don't you do that. Don't you test me. Don't even try it. Oh, Game Grumps has another video. Cool. I'll check that out later. So let's go over here to Assassin's Creed Shadows. Future of Assassin's Creed leaked. Apparently it's been leaked. Absolute disaster of Assassin's Creed Shadows. Oh, snap! Another video is up for Sonic X Shadows Generations. They just dropped an hour ago. Assassin's Creed Shadows World Trailer. Let's do this one. Because these videos are going to be the thing that sells the game to people. These are... Ooh. I know this world trailer was from 4 weeks ago, but 23,000 likes to 134,000 dislikes. People are not feeling this. You remember the Terry Crews commercial where he turned the guy into a vending machine and then ripped potato chips out of the vendor? That's me with Monster Hunter Wilds. Monster Hunter Wilds makes your body feel like power. Bum 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 bum. Let's see. Ubisoft stock in 2018, 103 euros. Ubisoft stock in 2024, 12 euros. Please continue not to listen to the players. It seems like a great strategy. Bots don't buy games. No matter how many bots you use, no one is going to buy it. Because apparently they have bots in this comment section where it's saying like that's saying like a whole bunch of positive things about Shadows, which is real sketch when you think about it. So let's check out this Worlds trailer. Hello, hi, how are you? We're just looking at some Ubisoft footage from Assassin's Creed Shadows and just wondering how they went so wrong with all of their games. Needless to say, people are disinterested in this. They are completely disinterested in Assassin's Creed Shadows. I don't understand. Like, because here's the thing, Ubisoft is not just Assassin's Creed. They have Splinter Cell. They helped give us Naruto Rise of a Ninja. What other games did they give us? Raven Rabbids, the director for Raven Rabbids, recently left like Ubisoft Milan not too long ago. What else? No More Heroes. Assassin's Creed, Altair's Chronicles. Rainbow Six, Vegas, and Vegas 2. They gave us so many games, and this is just in the 2000s to 2009s. Shaun White Snowboarding, Naruto The Broken Bond. Prince of Persia, The Fallen King, more Prince of Persia. Specifically, the one on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. I never did finish that one. Tenchu, Shadow Assassins, Tom Clancy's Hawks. A lot of Tom Clancy games. Wheelman. Oh, that was a Vin Diesel game. All these different games. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, movie games, Where's Waldo? They gave us, but here's the thing, where is Splinter Cell? James Cameron's Avatar, the game. But my thing is, whatever happened to Splinter Cell? Y'all remember Splinter Cell? Who remembers the last one? Who remembers the last Splinter Cell game that was released? The last one we got was Blacklist. And Assassin's Creed Blacklist. Splinter Cell Splinter Cell Blacklist was all the way back in 2013. It's been over 10 years already. It's been 11 years, actually. Because it's already past August 20th. It's been 11 years since the last Tom Clancy Splinter Cell game. You could have at least given us Chaos Theory or Double Agent or any other Tom Clancy Splinter Cell game for people to play on newer consoles. You could have given us that, but it's been overly quiet. Matter of fact, let's see all the games that we got. So we got Splinter Cell, Pandora Tomorrow, Chaos Theory, Double Agent, Essentials, which is on the PSP, Conviction. The fact that they haven't thought of re-releasing Splinter Cell Conviction is an absolute crime. You could have given us Splinter Cell Conviction over Star Wars Outlaws, and your stock would be high. Because Splinter Cell Conviction was truly the last great Splinter Cell game. Mind you, Splinter Cell Blacklist was good, but it wasn't as good as Conviction. Conviction was the cream of the crop. It was the absolute peak of Splinter Cell games. And you mean to tell me that the thought of re-releasing it for a newer generation of gamers, for newer consoles, and with much better stability, you didn't want to do that, but you want to give us Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Shadows? Maybe you should take a break. So Conviction, Splinter Cell, Classic Trilogy HD. So they did do a remaster of the classic old games, but on the PS3. But those got mixed and average reviews. Blacklist, that dropped, and then, okay, here it is. So, let's see. No wonder we haven't heard anything from the Splinter Cell game. I was wondering why I was so quiet. The director of the remake for Splinter Cell left. No wonder we haven't heard anything from the Splinter Cell remake. David Grivel, the director of the remake, left Ubisoft 2 years ago. So as it stands, Splinter Cell ain't moving nowhere, and we are just stuck with Assassin's Creed, and boy, do people love those games right now. That's such a disappointment. What? October 16th, 2022. All these games, and they're not giving anything to us. What happened? What was your last... Everyone, what was your last Ubisoft game that you played? What was the last one? The last newest one that I played was Far Cry 6. And as much as I like Giancarlo Esposito, the gameplay wasn't enough for me to go like, okay, you know what? I want to see everything this game has to offer because the game is that fun. There's only certain games I can truly enjoy that are first person, and Far Cry 6 started to really drive home that all of their games are basically the same, and Far Cry 6 actually does things worse than the previous Far Cry games. So I had to step away from that. But what was your last favorite Ubisoft game? Because I honestly want to know. Because it's such a shame what's happened to their games overall. Sorry, I went to the wrong page there. Go back to the top. Okay. Let me see if I can find games from like the 2000s and 10s all the way up until now. Assassin's Creed 2, that was my first one. Red Steel, Splinter Cell Conviction, Prince of Persia, The Forgotten Sands, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. That was definitely a good game. Prince of Persia on Xbox 360. That was the last Ubisoft game you played? Just Dance, because you know people love dancing. They do, but I'm just making fun. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, that was another good one. Ghost Recon, Shadow Wars. Also took part in a whole bunch of mobile games as well. I'm just looking through their list of games. NCIS, the Black Eyed Peas experience. That's an actual game. Rayman Origins. Remember Rayman? Splinter Cell Conviction on Mac. I Am Alive. I'm just looking through all of their games and how frequently they released games. Cause we got Assassin's Creed 3 that dropped in November, and then they dropped Far Cry 3 literally the next month. So for the main games, we got Assassin's Creed 3 in October, November, December. There really wasn't too much of a gap in between Assassin's Creed 3 and Far Cry 3. Then they got Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. Heard that was very good. Splinter Cell Blacklist. Wii U, 360, PlayStation 3. Assassin's Creed Black Flag. That dropped in October of 2013. Literally the last great, truly, truly, truly flawless Assassin's Creed game. And I feel like all the other ones that dropped after that was they really didn't live up to the hype as much. Except for Assassin's Creed Origins, that one was good. That one was good. I think that was the first one where it really started to introduce like RPG loot items into the game. I want to say that they started introducing like, hey, your level of which your level doesn't determine how strong you are, but just your gear. And that's when they really started to lean heavily into the RPG side for Assassin's Creed going forward with all the rest of their games. Rayman Legends, that's another great one. South Park Stick of Truth, that's another one that they did. And that's when notice how this list used to be just look at how this list used to just be packed with stuff in 2012, and then these spaces start to get a little bit wider as the releases, as we move through the years. They start to get wider and wider and wider. And we've already moved out of 2014 into 2015, going down this list. Now we're moving into 2016. Tom Clancy's The Division, Far Cry Primal, Assassin's Creed Identity. That's when they started making some stuff for like mobile games and such. Whole bunch of Just Dances. Watch Dogs 2. A lot better than Watch Dogs 1, because Watch Dogs 1 was an unmitigated PR disaster. Let's show them stuff that is not in the game at all. Realistic clothed physics. The capabilities that you see in this supposed gameplay demo, which is actually just pre-rendered and just cut off from the rest of the game, you can't even do in the main game. What they promised in the trailer and the showcase wasn't what people got in game. And that was, I want to say, the nail in the coffin for a lot of people concerning Ubisoft going forward with their games. Assassin's Creed Origins, 2017. Far Cry 5, 2018. Assassin's Creed Odyssey, 2018. Far Cry New Dawn, 2019. Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered, 2019. Assassin's Creed Odyssey on the Stadia. Boy, who remembers the Stadia? And Assassin's Creed Ghost Recon Breakpoint on Stadia as well. So that's the 2019s. Then we move on to the 2020s all the way down. So that's when they were still trying to release stuff on Stadia, and the Stadia did not last long. Let's see, Watch Dogs Legion, played through that, and that kind of... See, a lot of Ubisoft games that I've played on this channel, such as Watch Dogs Legion, Far Cry 6, and the Assassin's Creed games, I felt like they just felt too much of the same. Even though the Far Cry games are first person, they just felt really close to each other in terms of like, oh, I feel like I'm doing the same thing except my perspective is different in some. And it got really, to me, it felt like it got really, really tiresome to the point where I didn't want to engage in that sort of thing anymore. I was just tired of it. Assassin's Creed Valhalla 2020. Got Pilgrim vs. the World, the game, complete edition. Got that. Still phenomenal game. Far Cry 6. This is where this is the game that made me dislike playing Far Cry games. Because I just got bored of it. I just got bored of the overall gameplay aspect of it, and I couldn't play it anymore. It's the reason why I refuse to play any game that's like it from Ubisoft at all. Rainbow Six Extraction. And notice how the entries got really, really wide. Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora, Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, Skull and Bones, Ubisoft Singapore. Yay. Then the Invincible mobile game. Stop turning these franchises into mobile gotchas. Stop it. Stop turning games into mobile gotchas. Stop turning IPs into mobile gotchas. Just make it a console game and be done with it. I'm tired of it. I am tired of gotchas so much. I know it sounds like I'm just ranting and complaining right now, but I'm tired of those. Star Wars Outlaws, Beyond Good and Evil 20th Anniversary Edition. Assassin's Creed Shadows, which is now releasing next year. Assassin's Creed Jade, another Assassin's Creed game releasing for phones, because we all know how much we love to play full-fledged titles on our phones, because we certainly don't use our phones for anything else. So we'll just burn our battery out playing this game. Let's see, Tom Clancy's The Division Resurgence, also mobile. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Mobile, also mobile. Then we're supposedly getting a Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time remake, and I believe one of y'all was saying, like, please don't let them do anything to that. Beyond Good and Evil, status unknown. Assassin's Creed, codename Hex, status unknown. Codename Invictus, unknown. Project U, Tom Clancy's The Division 3, Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell remake, unknown, untitled Assassin's Creed mobile game, again, because we all know how much we need full-fledged console-level mobile games in the world. And these are all the games that Ubisoft currently has going on for them right now. So I'm going to be honest. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that Ubisoft really hasn't been doing their job and making people want their games anymore. And I know this seems like it's a bit of a stretch. I know it sounds like it's a bit, I'm exaggerating. So many mobile games I won't be messing with. But that's just me personally. I can't say I won't be messing with it and therefore Ubisoft is going to suffer. Because in the grand scheme of things, I'm just one person. If they don't get a sale from me, then it's not going to hurt them at all. However, I mean, they're currently in a state of hurt right now where faith in their brand is at an all-time low. And people wanting to buy their games is not as high as it used to be. Which is a complete and utter travesty, because they used to be really good. Their Assassin's Creed games used to be games that people would want to play. But now we have a game, an Assassin's Creed game, that is being disliked at every turn because it doesn't feel like an Assassin's Creed game. It feels like an attempt at making an Assassin's Creed game, but with none of the heart with it. Because where is the plot? Why should people play Assassin's Creed Shadows? That's the question. They make all these games, but do they ever stop and wonder why people should play their game? Just because you make a game doesn't mean that people will want to play it. Just because you're Ubisoft doesn't mean that your game is a necessity for people to go out and play. And what makes Ubisoft an even less than favorable brand to support is the fact that they really like to chop into pieces their game and then sell it behind higher priced editions for their game. Like, for example, people paid $130. Well over, I think it was like $110 or up to $130 to get early access to Star Wars Outlaws. And I know I keep going back to this game because it did so many things poorly. This game had early access where people could play. There was a fundamentally large game-breaking bug that they could not fix other than making people wipe their save so that a patch, because the thing is, they released a patch, but the patch would not fix a person's game currently in progress. It required the person to wipe their save completely in order for the patch to fully work. Because they said that if you continue to play this game with this save without wiping it so that the patch can take effect, your game will constantly encounter this bug and we have no way to fix it. Or at least we are not going to fix it. So we highly suggest that you wipe every bit of progress that you have gained, the entirety of you playing this game, during early access, and then you can fully enjoy it without issue. But little good that did, because even after releasing these patches, the game is still an incredibly buggy mess. So it makes you wonder, what exactly did the patch do if the game is still breaking? If people are still falling through the floor or falling through the map? If AI is behaving unresponsively? If AI is behaving like they barely have two brain cells to rub together? You can make a buggy game that is still loved by the fans. Skyrim and Bethesda is a prime example of this. Oh yes, their games are a buggy mess, but people love it because the vast majority of the game is still very solid and fun and worth interacting with. That's the reason why people still tolerate Bethesda, but even that has its limits, because you can only give us buggy stuff and we enjoy it, but as long as the game is enjoyable. When the game stops being enjoyable, the buggy stuff we were able to overlook starts to become a lot more prevalent. I think the core of Ubisoft's issue is that they put no love in their titles anymore. That and the constantly insulting the intelligence of their consumers, which is something you should never do. I don't care how frazzled you get. Insulting the player base or saying like, I'm so disappointed in players going out of their way to say how bad our game is, and even people within the industry saying how bad our game is, it is so disheartening. Well, make a better product. Kyushu, what do you mean make a better product? How about you not rush a game out before it's fully ready? Whatever happened to QA testing to ensure that your game is stable and it works fine on launch day? Y'all don't test y'all stuff out? Do you just program patches and hope for the best? And that's the reason why bugs still exist in your games? There's no excuse. You're a million, probably not $1 billion company. You're a $1 million company. Y'all bring in so much revenue from all your other different franchises and whatnot, but y'all can't afford to make sure that y'all games work properly so that people have one less thing to gripe about? Whatever happened to making sure that before you allow a product to leave the front door, You make sure that the shoes are tied. You make sure that the shirt is tucked in. The belt is looped all the way through. The collar is pressed down. The sleeves are ironed. The pants are clean. Then you take a lint roller over it and make sure the whole thing is clean. You make sure your child when you have a child, don't you make sure that they look clean if they leave in the house? You don't just have them looking any sort of way, because presentation is everything. So with Ubisoft, they're just letting their kids go outside in their PJs and they house Crocs with socks on, mix-match shoes, mix-match Crocs on with 2 different types of socks on. Their shirt got food stains near the corner. It's got a little tear on the sleeve. Got jam smeared on one cheek, and a piece of like a Cheerio stuck to the other. Hair is unkept. Face looks like it hasn't had that nice proper washing. Got like crust underneath the eyes, and they just letting that go out there and sound like, oh, don't worry, we'll take him into the restroom real quick and clean his face a little bit. Not give him a proper cleaning, but just giving the child like a quick cleaning so it can look fine in that moment, but not something that can give the lasting impression of, okay, this is clean. Now we get to see what goes on from here, because now we got a nice presentation. Now everything can proceed positively from here on out. That's Ubisoft in their games right now. They're literally letting their kids go outside without making sure that the clothes in their kid is clean. They're just letting them go out however they want. Sorry for the typos in a hospital waiting room, and I hate hospitals. Oh, that's perfectly all right. You do what you got to do. You do what you got to do, Shonen Sensei. I hope everything's okay. I hope everything's all right. But it's a disappointment. I can boot up a Ubisoft game. Like, I can boot up Far Cry 6. I can boot up Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I can boot up Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. But knowing that these games have been less than all is well, just something minor. Okay. That's all you need to say. Don't worry, I'm not going to pry. Ubisoft is a sinking ship with a crew trying to patch the holes with cardboard. It's literally watching a bunch of new players in Sea of Thieves try and patch up a ship that has been shot at multiple times, and they're wondering why their ship keeps filling up with water, and they're not attempting to empty the ship at all. That's where Ubisoft is right now. They have such a massive opportunity to bring good faith back to players, but their recent decisions are not doing them any favors. And the worst thing about these decisions is that they don't do anything to restore faith in their players at all. They either have people in the studio who go on rants on social media saying like, oh, I'm so disappointed in the world today and the stigma of today where player expectations are like this and that, and they're saying all this stuff online. You're in the business of where your works will be judged from the outside. If you cannot handle your stuff being judged by the people you want to buy it, you should not be in this industry. I am in a position where the stuff I do, it can be judged. That's the whole thing. My stuff is out there for the world to see. Any number of people can see what I see, and they are free to judge what I do based off of what they see. It is not on me to say like it's not fair for you guys to judge my stuff because I work so hard on it. That's not how that works. Frustrating thing is how great we know they can be. That's the thing, though. We are the ones. Why is it that we on the outside looking in are saying, like, we know how great you can be, but you keep making all of these poor decisions? Look at Black Myth Wukong. Look at Space Marine 2. These are incredibly solid games that do nothing more than just give players wonderful experience to mess with. And they don't do any more than they need to. They do what they need to right then and there, giving you a solid experience, a gameplay experience, and they've just been improving it, making the game more stable. They need to work on the matchmaking, I will admit, for Space Marine 2, so me and Gajil can actually play longer than 2 missions. But they've already... They've already shown that they know how to make a solid gameplay experience with these games, both game science and focus entertainment. I will be playing Warhammer Darktide when that comes out. I just hope that it drops this month, because I've been hearing things that Warhammer Darktide is going to be dropping in October, or at least that's the assumption, and I really hope it does. So hopefully we'll hear something either the rest of this week or next week, because I really want to play it, because apparently it's a looter type game, but it's set in the world of Warhammer, and it has the Psyker class, and I want to play as that class. But when I see games like Space Marine 2, when it's just a solid experience that I get to enjoy, and I want more of that, and then I see Black Myth Wukong, which is the first gigantic AAA title from China, and it's already surpassing expectations like hundreds of times over. And then I get Ubisoft, which is already... Is it crossplay? Do you mean Space Marine 2, or do you mean Warhammer Darktide? Because if you mean Darktide, I mean, it's only available on Xbox and PC at the moment. But I think Space Marine 2 is crossplay. Hold on, let me see. Yes. Full crossplay between Steam, Epic Games Store, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S. Already day one thing. So, I don't know. And I said this to Gajil, and I wouldn't be surprised if we bring this conversation up as well. Ubisoft is not Henry Cavill said it best. I don't take criticism as toxic. People are obviously passionate about the works they love and want to see them done justice. The same thing with games. That's the thing, though. Just because criticism should not be seen as toxic. That's the issue with a lot of devs right now, where they think that any player that has anything negative to say about their game, which can actually be constructive criticism, is like the worst thing possible. What? You don't like our game? Well, you're blocked. Oh, you're one of the minority who's screaming out loud for us to do this thing that we don't want to do for our games. We're not going to listen to you. Calling players freaks and hacks when they don't agree with the direction that you put towards your game. We're free to criticize the things that you make. You are free to criticize the things that I make. That's why it's called criticism. It's not hate, it's criticism. If you have something that you don't specifically like about something, and you are within your right to say so, and you give a reason as to why you like it, and it's a reasonable response, I don't get to say you're wrong for saying all of that. I can take it into account. And maybe if it lines up with what I'm doing wrong, per se, using myself as an example, I can hope to resolve that so that that sort of criticism doesn't appear again. But when it comes to people in video games, they really do have it in their heads like, we worked really hard on this game, you're not allowed to say anything bad about it. Since when? Since when? There isn't a single video game that exists out there where someone hasn't said anything bad about it. Now, My thing is, there's a difference between criticism and just being toxic in general. Like, for example, Black Myth Wukong lacks all the things that people that want diversity and inclusivity would want to be in the game. And the game has sold phenomenally because it doesn't even include that. Yet these same individuals have gone out of their way to try and badmouth the game, trying to create a hate mob for the game, which has not only failed, but also boosted the sales for the game. And look at the game as like, well, this game isn't woke enough, it's not inclusive enough, it's not diverse enough, and therefore it's just a poor example of a video game. And to these brain-dead morons, I say, good. That's the reason why the game is succeeding. Your criticisms are unfounded, however, and what you're looking for is a standard that only exists in America that a lot of game studios have tried to make the norm. And not only that, but a lot of people on social media have tried to make it the norm that it's okay for you to gather a mob of individuals to hate on a specific thing if one individual on this place does not like it. And then you gather more people and they say they don't like it. And then it just becomes a big old hate mob on something that really doesn't need it in the first place. The whole cancel culture when it comes to video games is just so sad. It really is. If you don't like something, don't buy it, don't play it. You are free to voice your concerns, but you ain't got to go extra and continuously tell people how much you don't like the game every time it does something new or every time it does something in general. You can just move on, because all you're doing is just bring more attention to the very thing that you hate, and then more people are going to look into it, which is not what you want, right? But here I go ranting and rambling again. Let's see, they're the ones that's selfish at the max because they want to blow you off and block, etc. when someone speaks their minds, but they feel their opinion is what it is supposed to be. How are they going to say that when I'm sure when they was little, they gave their criticisms? The difference is back then, the OG took it and kept pushing, and nowadays they whine and want others to join the bandwagon. See, that's the problem. Social media has caused people to no longer have a full opinion of their own that opposes other people, because now it's wrong to have a difference in opinion. Because if your opinion, if the opinion of 10 people doesn't matches that of 1,000 people, then the 10 people are the one who are wrong. That's the whole nature of like just having an opinion on the internet. Like, for example, and I use this example all the time, I love playing Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I love playing it. I enjoy it. I love playing the characters. I love going through all these missions, playing all these episodes. The current episode where it gave us Lawless is, I feel like, one of the best ones that they've done. Yet there are still plenty of people out there who look at Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League as an absolute blight in their eyes, and don't waste any time making sure that people know that, this game is dead in the water. Last time I checked, dead games don't still do updates. I'm just saying. But that's them. People will look at me and think that I'm crazy just because I like the game. I understand if people don't like it. That's fine. That's you. I'm not going to say you're wrong for not liking it. But I'm not wrong for liking it. But yet in this day and age, if a whole bunch of people say they don't like something, and you do, there's something wrong with you because your opinion does not match their own. And that sort of mob mentality is incredibly toxic. It's because I remember I used to be on a Discord server where the person in charge of this Discord server had an incredibly toxic mentality. And I joined this Discord server because I disliked Marvel's Avengers. And I joined this Discord server because there was a lot of people who disliked it as well. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I was falling into that same bout of mob mentality, and it started to mentally affect me in a negative way, to the point where if anyone said anything good about Marvel's Avengers, I would feel insulted that they would say they liked anything about it. There was a turning point one day when I said, like, you know what? Yeah, I understand how this place operates now, and I don't feel comfortable anymore. I'm going to go. And I've never looked back. And ever since then, I realized that the opinions I had towards Marvel's Avengers as a whole, a great deal of it was purely based off of another individual's opinions on Marvel's Avengers that I just piggybacked off of because this individual had such honeyed words. And I was just falling on these words with every word that they spoke that I felt like, you know what? This person is right. Oh, it's so horrible. Oh, it's such a tragedy. Oh, it's just horrendous. And then I looked at people who played Marvel's Avengers, and I looked at them with an upturned nose. And frankly, that was not how I was raised to look at people, especially when it comes to different things that they liked. So when I left that server, not only was there such a massive weight lifted off my shoulder, but then I realized I had become the very thing that I have grown to despise now, which is people should be able to like whatever they like. And mind you, I've been gone from that server for a very long time now. But I realized that as I play Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, I am now that type of person that enjoys the game, and everyone else is looking at me with upturned noses, looking at me like I'm some weird individual who actually likes this game. And I now fully understand what it's like to be on that side of the spectrum. I was ignorant back then, just following along with absolutely no care in the world and thinking like, you know what, this person's right. I'm just gonna agree with them because there's so many like-minded people. And I didn't realize I was in such a negative mind space with all those individuals who were there. I made some good friends who were there. But the whole space as a whole, the longer I stayed there, the more I realized that this was a very hostile environment. And this isn't the type of the mind space that I actually want to be in. So now as I play Kill the Justice League, I realize for the longest time, I had based my opinion for games, mind you, for a great deal of games off of the opinions of others, which was detrimental to me mentally, because then it was like, I'm only making this decision because I don't want to look odd in front of everyone else saying like, I don't think it's that bad. What's wrong with you? And then it would just turn into a cavalcade of like going back and forth. And I was all like, you know what? I'm just going to be quiet and I'm not going to say it whether I like it or not. And I feel like I couldn't do it. And it got worse. It got worse after that. And then I really had to leave after that because it was just an incredibly negative environment that I never want to be a part of again. So it's incredible how opinions can be seen as negative with no hint of positive criticism towards it. And some people will take it so far as like, oh, you don't like this? Well, then something's obviously wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with the game. There's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with the story. It's you who are the issue. And some devs who don't need to speak go out of their way to speak when they don't need to. And I feel like as a consumer, if you are playing a game that you pay money for, that you go out and buy. Some people do it digitally, but if you go out and buy a game and you take it home and you put it in, wait for it to install and update or whatever it needs to do, you play it, you don't enjoy it, and you know why you don't enjoy it, you should be free to say why you don't enjoy it without people looking at you going, you're wrong for doing it. Because that sort of mentality that has permeated throughout social media has caused people to just not say anything at all, and therefore not bring to attention what is wrong with something so it can be fixed, instead being quiet because they don't want to face the wrath of people who think there's nothing wrong with it in the first place. That's where things are when it comes to certain video games. You're not allowed to say anything negative. You just need to be quiet and just accept it for what it is. Me, I'm vocal when it comes to video games, from Suicide Squad to any other game that I'm playing. as much as I like Suicide Squad, there are quite a few things that they need to work on. They need to make it so that we can have our save data on our consoles instead of relying on a server. Because if the server goes down, there goes all of my progress. That's one thing that they need to do. Another thing that they need to do is make it so that... Actually, I really haven't played with people with Suicide Squad other than Gajeel, and I think Ricketts other than Senior. But I really haven't played with other people to showcase the stability of the game, because the game still runs fine, but there are still some things that they need to resolve and fix up before all is said and done for the game, when they stop doing stuff for it. But that's just me pointing stuff out. That's me giving my opinion on things that, even though I enjoy it, that there are things that they can definitely improve of. People have become so soft nowadays. You'd think you were assaulting someone for not having the same opinion, and in the end, the people that Kill the Justice League couldn't care less. Exactly. Like, I don't care if you don't like it. I'm over here trying to earn some good loot. These corrupted weapons in this current episode are busted, and Lawless is incredibly fun to use. So while people will go off in the Discord server for Suicide Squad in journals saying like, oh, this is such a bad episode, I'm all like, huh? You hear something? I'm enjoying myself. It's fun. What you say? I can't hear you over me having fun. So, you can say all the negative stuff that you want, but all the people who are enjoying themselves with it, they couldn't care less. And mind you, that sort of mentality can be used for a whole bunch of games. But if there's a problem, it does need to be addressed. So going back to Ubisoft, because I know I went off on a whole tangent there, because when you look at Ubisoft and their games, you do have some sensitive people in their ranks that can't handle stuff being said about their games. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find that Yves quote. Let me see here. No, Yves Guillemot has not blamed players. In fact, he has stated that Ubisoft's goal is to create games for the broadcast audience for the broadest audience possible, and for fans and players to enjoy. So, my thing is, what he said. Hold on, let me see. Here. In today, this is the quote. What an insanely misleading headline. Yeah, he says, in today's challenging market and with gamers expecting extraordinary experiences, delivering solid quality is no longer enough. I mean, it is enough if you don't give the expectation of a game being grander than what it actually is. Let me see. I'm going to play what game, and if I like it, that's what it is. Let me deal with somebody, say some stuff like that. People do all that time. I'll be like, so you a follower? How you ain't got no backbone? People will fall out fighting mad with their own family over politicians that would not attend their funeral. It's not that serious. It isn't. It isn't. Games are meant to be a break from insanity. They're meant to be a way for people to escape the insanity of life. People don't play games for there to be introduced to more turmoil just because certain people don't agree with why they like this story, or why they like this game, or why they don't like this story, or why they don't like this game. It's not that serious. It is a video game. But people take gaming as a whole way too seriously. I was about to hit Game Informer, and then I realized that the site was gone. I still have it up here as a bookmark because I don't want to let go. I don't want to let go of it. But Ubisoft, and I got to come back to Ubisoft because I know I went off on a full tangent. You guys know me. I can go on long rants about different things that are completely different from what the title is talking about. But Ubisoft as a whole, they need to make sure, and mind you, Shadows was supposed to drop in November. The 15th of November, to be exact. They have until February of 2025 to get their act together because they cannot afford another loss. They don't have anything else on the cards. The only big title they have in their repertoire right now is Assassin's Creed Shadows that's supposed to be dropping in February. They have until then to make it the best possible Assassin's Creed ever, the most stable game since their last stable game. Otherwise, I don't know what else they're going to do with their company because they don't have anything else. They don't have anything else worthwhile. They don't have anything that they can fall back on. That's the scary thing. The only thing they got to look forward to for their company, as it stands right now in terms of the public eye, is Shadows. If this game does not deliver, they will not be able to recover as they have before, because they won't have anything else. And that's insane to me. And I can't say that their entire well-being rides on Assassin's Creed Shadows, but since that's the only game that they have on their market right now that people are even relatively looking forward to, they don't have anything else that can make shareholders look like, okay, you guys have got something good going right now, let's go ahead and bump up those shares. They are not in that position right now. So as it stands right now, Shadows is pretty much their only hope in order to make sure that people actually trust Ubisoft again. That's the only game they got. So if this game drop, because mind you, we still have November, December, January. 3 whole months for Assassin's Creed Shadows to go from the way it looks now to being one of the most polished games of the new year. If it still fails to deliver, it is also going to draw into question what those 3 months were for if the game still launches buggy and messed up. And I feel like if that happens, we're probably going to be having another session again. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. That's the sad thing, to be looking at a company that I've played many games from and looking at their future, and I don't know where they're going to end up. Because I have no idea whether their game is going to be good or not. Because their games that they've been releasing have been hit or miss, and a lot of them have been misses. So yeah, if Assassin's Creed Shadows is not the best game out there in the year 2025, I don't know what Ubisoft has next up in line in order to recoup costs, because this game looks like it's going to cost quite a bit of money in order to completely finish. If they are not able to deliver when this game drops, it might be it. It might be it. But that's all the ranting that I wanted to do today concerning Ubisoft. I just wanted to look into their stocks. Their stocks were immensely low. Just thinking back to their previous games, like from the old Assassin's Creed games, and seeing where they went to where they've gone to where they are right now. And I have to say that Ubisoft has this is their one chance. This is their one chance to really put them back on top again, because if they can't meet that, I don't know where else they're going to go. But I'm done. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been my rant and discussion about Ubisoft and what happened to it, because I still don't understand how we went from something as great as Assassin's Creed Black Flag, in terms of how much we truly love and respect the Assassin's Creed franchise, to go into Assassin's Creed Shadows, where we don't even know where the narrative is anymore, or what they're trying to do with this franchise anymore, and we're just as confused as everybody else. Yes, this is a make or break. This game is the make or break of this company. If they had anything else, we would have heard about it right now. And if they want to make sure that they got a backup plan, they need to speak up. Now's not the time for y'all jokers to be quiet when you got one game that is pretty much going to... This game could decide whether or not people are still interested in the Assassin's Creed franchise. If this game does poorly, it's going to drive it all the way down. And I know I'm just like a regular schmo living here in his house, playing games for a living, reading manga for a living, doing all sorts of things for a living on this platform, and I may not even know the first thing about business ethics or the business behind Ubisoft, but I do know consumers will not consume again if what they consume is disgusting. They better call one of the OG crew and bump its pay to them to fix what they done messed up. Nah, they probably won't. Cause this could have been if the guy who was in charge of the Splinter Cell remake didn't leave, this could have been the best time for them to announce, hey, we got a Splinter Cell coming out. We're working on it, and we also got Michael Ironside reprising his role as Sam Fisher. You could have had that, but now he's gone. Now the director over the Splinter Cell remake is gone. And it's like, y'all have nothing. Y'all really don't have anything to fall back on if Shadows fails. They're cooked with the CEO they have at the moment, Yves Guillemot. Yeah. Honestly, I think it's past help. My opinion, though, the damage is already done. I try to be optimistic as best I can, but I honestly do not see how Ubisoft can massively recover. How they can massively... Hold on. Not Ubisoft stock. Ubisoft. Yeah, I honestly can't see how they can... This is their stock from a whole year. This is their stock from the whole year. From a whole fiscal year. Starting out on October 10th, 2023. And it's now been a full year. It's now been an entire full year since October 10th, 2023, and their highest stocks was at like $6.56 back in November. And now it's at an all-time low where their stocks are just like $2. Did that percentage just go down from the hour I've been up? It was just at 36%, negative 36%. Now it's gone down even lower to 51. It's dropped a full 20% since I've been talking. Hold on, am I looking at this right? Oh, okay. No. I was looking at a year. I was looking at a year's worth of percentage drops. Sorry. I was looking at a year's worth of percentage drops. Sorry. I had it on the wrong tab. It scared me there for a moment. But so the entirety of a full year, they've dropped an entire negative 51.30%. That's how low their stocks have gone in a full year. 36% is from the monthly view. It's from the 6-month view, down 2% in the past month. It's gone up 20% in the past 5 days, and has dropped down 1% today. So it was stable. It was stable at 12. It was stable when I started this stream. 5 minutes after I started this stream, it was stable, and then it dropped off. It dropped off at 2 o'clock. So it's gone, the percentage has gone down again. But then you look at Nintendo. Look at Nintendo. Look at Nintendo. If we look at their yearly stuff, they remain high. Look, their values are at $53. And mind you, this is Nintendo. This is Nintendo. Their stocks are always high. Because it's Nintendo. Sony and Microsoft, they need to step it up. But Ubisoft, their whole value has just dropped all the way down. Because because the quality of their products has dropped all the way down. It's disappointing. They should hire me as a consultant. I'd make their company profitable again, fire the sensitivity readers, fire the janitor's wife and CEO's wife, CEO's wife's side piece, invest in the people that do a good job. How about we stop laying off people from these corporations just because these corporations want to save money? Thinking that letting these people go is actually going to be better for the company when you realize that letting skilled people go means less skill in the company. That's common sense, though. Less skilled people, letting go of more people in a company means less skilled people in the company, which means less people to do the skilled work that you are looking for. What are you doing? Hiring people back? Or are you just leaving these people high and dry? Are you just leaving these sections of your company without people, thinking you're going to get the same quality of work? No. That's not how we do. But I'm about to rant again. I'm not doing it again. I'm disappointed in Ubisoft, and I wish we could get the same Ubisoft that made me love Assassin's Creed. Now I couldn't care less what happens to the franchise. They lost the plot of the Assassin's Creed games, and I've lost the plot of me caring. There is a lot of fat in those corpse. Oh no, I know there's a lot of fat. They could burn it away if they actually took a pay cut so that they could keep people. But we can't. The mansion needs refinancing. My yacht needs to be taken care of. The people who drive my yacht need to be paid. So we need to let go of at least 125, specifically 125 people in order for my yacht and my private planes and my Lamborghinis and my garage full of expensive cars to be maintained every week. We need to let go of all of these people. I'll never understand business to this degree. I'll never understand business. I'll never understand letting go of people because you want to save costs for the company as a whole instead of keeping people so that they can bring value to your company. Like I said, I'm just an outside person looking in, but common sense would dictate that if you have people who are skilled at their jobs, you would want to keep them so that you can make your job more worthwhile. Yeah, the yacht driver is baked into the expenses. I don't know. I don't know what Ubisoft is going to do, but I'm just incredibly disappointed. And this is the reason why I don't be playing Ubisoft games on my channel anymore. Because I just no longer care about the company because the company no longer cares. And they'll say they do, but if they did, then the dislike bar of their most recent Assassin's Creed Shadows trailer wouldn't be at 134,000 dislikes. If what you had to offer was full of the quality that I would like for your games to have, that people would like for your games to have, it wouldn't be massively disliked. And you can't say that it's people because you can't say that it's the dislikes are from people who dislike Yasuke just because he's a brother in Japan who truly existed in real life. It's not from all of them. It's from people who are not seeing the quality of an Assassin's Creed game that we used to have in the past. But oh well. Or if they're good at they're good at your job, they should keep them and pay them better so the company doesn't look a fool. No, they can't. We got to let people go because the shareholders think that we need to let people go. Who cares if we have 500 people who have been doing a phenomenal job, who have been helping the camaraderie and morale stay high within the workplace? The shareholders think that we're not making as much money as we should be each year, so we need to cut back on people in order to ensure that the shareholders are seeing the numbers that they think they should be seeing. Who cares about the human aspect as long as the monetary aspect is intact, But that is the world we live in, where human value is less than shareholder value. But I said enough, because I could go on a full tirade right here. Human value isn't as valuable anymore versus shareholder value. How many shares are we getting from this company? Plenty! Okay, so how many people do we need to let go to ensure that number stays constant? Plenty! That's where we're at. But it's a disappointment, as is Ubisoft. I pray and hope that they do better, but at this point, I pray that they go out with a bang. That's just me. But I'm done, ladies and gentlemen. I could go on forever concerning this, but I got food on the way, and I also got some things to take care of for today. So all I can say to you, my faithful peoples, is, well, firstly, if I got anyone in Florida, I really hope you've been staying safe out there, because I heard that Milton has descended from a Category 3 hurricane to a Category 2. Human value is less than shareholder value. Who decided that? These jokers wish they had this level of Escanor power when it comes to these decisions and value and whatever. But, you know, yeah, food's on the way. But to anyone who lives in Florida, please continue to stay safe. Our hearts and prayers are with you in your time of need as far as the people who are currently being affected. And we hope and wish for the very best that everyone is okay and that everything is resolved and that restoration to Florida can, you know, begin post haste so that people can get back to living there and proceeding with their lives, especially considering that Helen just came through not too long ago. So Florida got hit not once but twice by some incredibly powerful hurricanes recently, within hair's breadth of each other. So I hope everyone is safe down there. But I'm done, ladies and gentlemen. Still can't believe he kept his eye wall intact. Yeah. TC, guys, you are all awesome. Stay strong. You as well, Designs. You are all amazing people. You make all of these rants and discussions I have with you guys truly, truly enjoyable. I really do love talking about things to you guys and having these discussions with you because they're so much fun to do. To any new person who is watching me right now, if you're coming here on the tail end, sorry that you missed like a whole big discussion concerning Ubisoft and everything about their games and where they're pretty much ending up right now. All I can really say to everyone here right now is, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later, peoples!